So hello, we are Prairie Fire. My name is Hunter Mackenzie. This is my younger brother, Jacob Mackenzie, and this is Riley Mackenzie. So we're going to be teaching you today basics of Metis jigging. It goes way further than what we're teaching you here today. But just to begin, we're going to start with what's called the Red River Jig. So if you haven't heard of that, it is a dance, and it comes from a guy who was sitting by the Red River, and he had his fiddle, and he was just playing some tunes to the wind, and then the wind carried to him some tunes, and he had never heard this sound before, and he tuned his fiddle so that it sounded the same. Later, he figured out it was the sound of bagpipes, so you might hear sort of bagpipe-ish sounds in this song, but it became what is basically the Métis national anthem, and it has a basic jig, which I'm going to get Riley to show you. So this is not necessarily the beginner Metis jig, which JJ is going to show you. What Riley just did is a bit trickier. So this is what we'll be teaching you today. We'll cover a little bit of the more complicated basic jig, but we'll begin with that, and that's something you should be able to learn within the time of this workshop. So we're going to start just by playing the song for the Red River Jig. So there's a basic part and a change where we get to show off. I will describe the changes later, but for now it's easier to just see what happens with the Red River Jig. So Riley's going to start with that one. Okay, that's good. So what you just saw there, and actually heard, is what I'm going to be focusing on for now. What you heard was the music started sort of differently, and then it changed, which is why we call it a change. So Riley started with the basic jig, the first one she showed you, and then she did a change. So which one did you do? Let's see. So this is what we call a change, which is just a change in our footwork. There are over 100 different changes, and they don't necessarily need to be defined. You can do whatever you want. Basically, it's just a chance for you to show off when that music is different. We're going to do another round of that. JJ's going to do it with the super basic jig and with a different change. So yeah, what you just saw there was the really, really basic jig, which we demonstrated earlier, and that you will be learning. But the change also was something that's very simple that you can learn. This is one that I do in performances just because it almost looks complicated, but it's very, very simple. Before we do that, we're going to start with the super basic change that I've been talking about. So both of you guys can come up for this one. So we're going to start with steps. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And let's keep going with that. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So practice that a few times. You guys can keep going with that. And once you sort of feel like you have the hang of it, you can get really fancy in there and add a kick, which Riley has just done for us. So kick, 2, 3, kick, 2, 3, kick, 2, 3, and then you can keep going with that. And you can stop here if you don't feel like, giving your all in a dance. If someone just asks you to dance, you don't really want to, that's what you would do and just be lazy about it. But if you want to show off a little bit more, you can add a little jump in there. So you guys can do that. And you sort of just do it lightly on your toes. It's the same thing, just, add a little hop and make it feel more like a dance, yes. So that is the basic jig, and I'm actually going to get you guys to each pick a change to demonstrate that you think would be easy to teach. So Riley, which change do you think we'll be doing? Okay, that's awesome, so we'll be learning that one. And JJ, I guess the change you just did for that first one, maybe? Okay. So the first one that Riley did, very simple. It's basically just follow along with what you see. So if you go ahead, it's kick, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, sorry, we're making this one a little fancier. So this one is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and then you can just keep doing that. And when you speed it up, we don't expect you to do this today, but when you speed it up, it looks a little fancier, and you add a little bit of a hop and go lighter on your feet. It mostly just comes with practice, so if you really feel like improving, just practice that one. And JJ's step, so this one's super simple. Forward, forward, side, side, forward, forward, side. And he's adding a little hop in here, so when you have your foot forward, just bounce on the foot that's still back. And then if you speed that up, it looks even fancier. So that's it for the changes and for the Red River Jig. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we will go ahead with the more complicated basic jig. This is not necessarily, we don't expect you to learn this in just a little bit. We've been dancing I've been told since we were born. So we'll go ahead with the trickier basic jig. So Riley's just going to demonstrate it to you so you can see it again. That's perfect. So what I didn't mention before, I know I'm talking in the context of the Red River Jig, but the basic jig is seen in all dances. So once you have this down, it's basically filler for more of the prominent parts of a dance, whether it's telling a story or whether it's for showing off. So this is just sort of the background noise of the dance. And this one starts with, so heel, toe, heel, sweep, up, down, and heel, toe, heel, sweep, up, down, and really the best thing is just to practice it. So if you guys want to do it slowly again, just to demonstrate it. That's perfect. Okay, and again, with all of the other changes I've been showing you, you just speed it up and add a little bit of a hop. So heel, toe, heel, sweep, up, down, and you bounce on the foot that's still on the ground. Yeah. It's true, yes. So what Riley said is just to add a hop in between each little step. And so, again, it comes with practice. And that's that. So that's it for the Red River Jig. There are many, many more changes. And actually, if you guys just want to demonstrate them, we won't be teaching them. But some fancier changes. Horse trot, this one is called. Yeah, so this is actually a dance move that was made by Métis people to train their horses. It's why it's called the horse trot, and you can actually see it in the RCMP musical ride where the horses will dance, and they'll do that with their feet. So JJ's going to show you another change. This one is around the world. It's heavily inspired from powwow dancing, but it's got another extra hop in there, which sort of incorporates it into Métis jigging. And there's more changes. Like I said, hundreds of changes, and other undocumented changes are ones that people just make up on the spot. So that's that for the Red River Jig. All right, so we're here with we're going to do the butterfly dance, and it's called the butterfly dance for a reason. It is in 3 segments, so actually all 3 of us will be doing this one for you. And this is a social dance, so it's meant to bring people together. It's very simple as well. So we're going to start with usually the tallest person in the middle, so we have, or the shortest as well. It just needs to be balanced, it looks nicer and it's a lot more comfortable for everyone involved. So we're starting with Jacob in the middle here because he is a little bit taller than both of us. So it starts off with the music is slow, and there's just a really slow like bounce, 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 and it is to mimic a butterfly just sort of floating from flower to flower as you might see it. So we will demonstrate that, and the music picks up, and we will demonstrate that as well. There's 2 different parts, but we'll talk about that after. But we'll go ahead with the music. Just the jump? Yes. No, we're going to do the jump and then the, yeah. All right, so what you just saw were two parts of the dance. So one is the slow part, like I mentioned, and then we sped up. This one, I know, a little bit out of breath from that, but what do we call that one when we hook it around the arms? Anyway, do-si-do, I guess, is a fun way to call it. Yeah, it's good enough. So the do-si-do, I guess we're calling it now, that is a very, very simple one. So you guys actually just hook elbows and just show what it's like when we're spinning. So I mentioned the basic jig as filler, and that's what they're doing during the spinning part. So if you guys want to show the basic jig. So just like that is what you'll see during the faster part when we spin. And for the slower part, it was very, very simple if you saw. So it's hop, hop, and then switch, hop, 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 hop. So that is the simple part. So we'll do that again. There's a different fast dance, so we'll demonstrate that for you. So that is the second fast part that we do for the butterfly dance, and you'll change between them. So yeah, that one's called the duck and dive. So you'll start with the slow one, you'll do the do-si-do, back to the slow one, into the duck and dive, and you'll repeat that. Yeah, so what you didn't see there in the music, and because we have recorded music, when you do this for a live audience or with live music specifically, the fiddle player will sometimes trick you. Will start to play like it's going to speed up, but then it actually goes into the slow music and things like that. And so you just have to persevere. Sometimes the dancers will just give up and leave, and sometimes the fiddle players get tired of the dancers, catching their tricks. So it's sort of whoever survives until the end of that one, or sometimes it's just a good time and no one's feeling like playing tricks on anyone. So that is pretty much it for the butterfly dance. Again, the purpose of it is just to be social and dance with people you may not know before, or things like that, or just, bond with your family, as we're doing here. All right, so the next dance we'll be doing for you is called the heel-toe polka. It's called the heel-toe polka because there's a very simple part where you just go heel-toe, 1, 2, 3, heel-toe, 1, 2, 3. I'll go more into depth later, but we'll start with just how you go with your partner. So it's a dance with two people in it, and so you take your right hand and you put in the other person's right hand, take your left hand, put in the other person's left hand. It's that's the yes. So you stay on top or on the bottom. But there's a trickier way you can hold hands if you want to start with that. So I'll have you guys put your hands down again. And this one, go ahead and just show how it looks once it's together. So it's the same thing, so left and right, but one of the arms goes over someone's head. Yeah. So it does have some implications later for the actual dance, but we'll talk about those after. So for now, we'll start with the simple way to put the hands together. And if we want to go ahead with the music for that. So that's basically it. It just repeats those two parts. So you saw there was the heel, toe, 1, 2, 3, which Riley will show you again. Yep, and it's easier as well if you figure out with your partner what foot you're going to start with first. It just keeps it nice and symmetrical and easy for the later part. And so you saw that heel toe 1, 2, 3 part that goes along with the music, but then next up they started doing something where they were moving forward and stuff. So if you want to demonstrate the basic jig part of that again. The basic jig part. So this was the simple one I was talking about earlier. So it's the 1, 2, 3 kick, 1, 2, 3 kick. And you see it works really well for this dance. Even if you know the more complicated jig, this one actually works a lot better for the heel toe polka. And so that's that for the simple way of holding hands. You can also, if you want, you can spin around with your partner. This is done in groups usually, so it's like a caterpillar almost of people following each other. So you can go forward and back and spin and again trick the people who are following behind you. So next we'll do the sort of trickier arm thing. It's a little fancier for the actual dance. So we'll go back to how the arms look in this position. So you still do the heel toe 1, 2, 3 part. So you start, let's say right foot. So yeah, you can see that they are switching between the arms. It's a lot more intuitive when you're practicing. It's a little hard to explain here, but basically you just switch which arm is going over which shoulder. So there are actually lyrics to this song. It's Kis pe kasagiten se ma otimen. And that means if you love me, then you'll kiss me. So it's a cute little romance song. Yeah, again, a social dance, not necessarily meant for showing off like our next one will be. And that is basically it for the heel toe polka. For the trickier arm positions, we'll go with just see how it looks with the music. And you could see actually they whipped out the more complicated basic jig that we were doing earlier. It's easier for that one, where for the other one it's the simpler one. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You got to see these guys showing off with the heel toe polka, but we will move on to our next dance. So the next dance we'll be doing is the Orange Blossom Special. It is personally my favorite dance to do just because it's so energetic and fun, but it also carries what is really important about Metis jigging, which is telling stories through dance. And so while our culture still does have oral traditions, we tend to tell stories mostly through art. So even my belt has a story that I won't be able to get into today, but the dance has a story as well, which I will be able to talk about today. So this dance is about a train, which is the Orange Blossom Special, that goes through Canada and the United States, and it honors all of our Indigenous family who worked on the railroad and just its construction. And the dance will have different parts of a train. We're going to go ahead and show you the structure of the story. I'll break it down afterwards, but just to begin, there's going to be one round, and this one round that we show you is repeated 3 times, each time getting faster and faster, but we're just doing one for now. So we will go ahead with the Orange Blossom Special. Okay, and that is one round of the Orange Blossom Special, and there was a lot that happened there compared to the past few dances that we've been doing. So I'll go ahead and break down what you saw. So JJ is going to start with what you saw first. So you saw this, which is the wheels on the train, or sorry, the bars on the wheels of the train warming up and just starting. And then we moved into the basic jig, which is, again, like I said, mostly filler, but in this case also demonstrates the train speeding up. And then I started doing this really fancy thing where, let's see it again. So we've actually already gone over this one. This is the 2-2, 2-2, 1-1. So do it a little slower just so we can see what that looks like. And then when he speeds it up, it looks much more impressive. Mostly jigging, why it's impressive is the speed, which just comes with practice. So those are the different parts of the train. So there are the brakes as well. So Riley is going to show you this part. So when you saw this in the dance, this is the train putting the brakes on. And also, what I forgot to mention was when it was going 2-2-1-1, the train would move up this way. And then sometimes when you're in a little station and the train is stopping, it goes backwards for some reason, or it feels like it's going backwards. And so that was that moving forwards and backwards part as well. I think, again, it's really important that our stories tell dances, and this one specifically. When you're seeing or watching Metis jigging, it's either going to be telling a story or social for making you participate with other people. And with that, I think we're pretty much good to go with all the dances. Thank you very much. So we're going to be talking about our outfits here. So I'm going to get Riley to step forward first because her belt is what I love to talk about. So our mother actually made these for us, and they're gorgeous. Beadwork is another form of storytelling for Métis people. So while our two belts don't necessarily tell stories, except for mine a little bit, it's got the flower of prairie smoke, which is what our group is named after, Prairie Fire. But Riley's belt doesn't have quite as much symbolism, it just looks nice. So what beadwork is sometimes used for is actually a map. So you might see like the big flower in the middle might be a lake, and all the paths on the side, the vines might be rivers or also just footpaths as well, and then another flower might be a drop-off location. And so our beadwork can actually tell stories just like our dances do, although sometimes a little more practical. And also it just looks lovely, at least to me. And next, we'll talk about the wraparounds that Riley has on and that we all have on. So the wraparounds, you can dance in moccasins, but we like this just because they are what we would wear if we were out in the bush and out in the wilderness and then we just came home and wanted to have a little dance. So these mocks, or wraparounds rather, they protect your shins if you're out gathering berries, and then there's thorns, and so you don't want them scratching up your legs, and so the wraparounds go up so that you are covered. And so sometimes Métis jiggers you'll see have really poofy skirts. That's just more of a European influence in the dance, and also the blouses might be a little fancier, but because we are in the 21st century, we're just a lot more comfortable wearing this, and it's a lot easier for us to breathe in. So next up we have JJ here. So he's got a nice shirt on just to be really fancy, and his sash was gifted to him from Manitoba. So sashes, you can tell where they're from. The blue and the darker colors are from Manitoba. The redder colors are from Alberta, and then sometimes also Ontario and Quebec are the brighter reds, and the darker red is sometimes from Alberta. So that's it for our outfits. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for Prairie Fire today. Thank you so much for just learning about Métis culture. I love sharing it, and I love when people are willing to engage and learn. Again, I just want to emphasize that we only just scratched the surface here today. But you did learn some basics that might get you, to show off a little bit at a dance party. But again, thank you so much. We have been Prairie Fire.